All right, let's start on page 3, creating and interpreting questions from a line plot. We can see that our title is up here, Luca's Study Habits. So that's what each of these are going to represent, each night that he's studying. The first question says, how many nights are recorded on the line plot? Remember, each X represents one night recorded. So we just need to count the X's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 nights are recorded. What is the longest amount of time that Luca studied for? Change colors. Longest amount of time. So this is when we're going to be looking at our number line at the very bottom to see which is the biggest number or the furthest on our number line with at least one X above it. We can see that's right here. So we're not quite yet at 2. So we know that it's at least 1 hour because each of these whole numbers represents an hour. And now let's count how many tally marks we have. We're going to jump over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So our numerator is 6. And out of a total of, so we're at 6, 7, 8. So he studied, and I'm sorry for my poor handwriting. The longest amount of time that Luca studied for was 1 and 6/8 hours. What was the least amount of time that Luca studied for? So I'm going to change to green. The least amount is going to be the smallest number on the number line that has at least one X above that. So we see on the number line, we have this here as our first X. That's the shortest amount of time. We notice we're not even at 1 hour yet. So here we have 0 hours. We don't need to put that as our whole number. But let's see, we have 1, 2 is going to be our numerator out of, let's see, we're at 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2/8 of an hour. We had also counted 8 spots or 8 spaces between 1 and 2. And whenever we break up a number line, they're going to be the same amount of tallies or same amount of spaces between each whole number. So we knew our denominator was 8. So the least amount of time that Luca studied for was 2/8 hours. What was the length of time that Luca studied for the most often? So we're looking for the number on our number line that has the most amount of X's above it. And that would be right here. We have 3 X's above here. So let's see, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 is our numerator, and we already know there's 8 spaces between 0 and 1, so 6/8 hours. That means out of the 9 nights he studied, the most often amount of time that he studied for was 6/8 of an hour. How many nights did Luca study for less than an hour? So we're looking here. This is the 1. So anything to the left, not including these 2 X's above 1, because that represents an hour, and it's not asking for an hour or less. It's just finding less than an hour. So we're counting the number of X's that are to the left of the 1. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 nights that Luca studied for less than an hour. If the total amount of time that Luca studied was redistributed so that he studied the same amount of time each night, then how much time would Luca spend each night studying? So here, this is where we're finding the average. We're going to add up all of these, the amount for each of these X's, and we're going to divide it by the total number of nights, which we knew was 9 from over here before, the first question. So let's start. The first one we can see is 2/8. And we're going to add that to here, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6/8. But there's 3 X's above 6/8, so we need to add 6/8 3 times. Let's see, now we're over here. We have 1, but we have 2 X's above 1, so we're going to add 1 plus 1. Here we have 1 and 2/8. We're going to add 1 and 2/8. Here we have 1. We're looking at this one here. We have 1, and then 1, 2, 3, 4/8. 1 and 4/8. And finally, we have this X right here, which is 1. It's not at 2 yet. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6/8. So let's start shouldn't have an extra, should have an equal sign. Let's start by adding up all of the whole numbers first. So here we have a whole number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now let's add up the fractions. 2 eighths plus 6 eighths is 8 eighths, plus 6 eighths is 14 eighths, plus 6 eighths is 20 eighths. So let's see, that's 8, 14, 20, okay? Plus the 2 eighths here is 22 eighths, plus the 4 here is 26 eighths, and then finally add the 6 eighths. 26 eighths plus 6 eighths is 32 eighths. Oh, 32 is bigger than 8. So remember, fractions are just division. We can divide 32 divided by 8, which is 4. So 5 plus the 4 from our fraction equals 9. The average amount, oh, sorry, 9. So we added all up, we got 9 as our total amount of time that he spent studying. But now we need to divide that by the total number of nights he studied. We can go back to the first question here and see that he studied for 9 nights. We can also just add up all the x's again and see that there's 9 x's. So 9 hours that he spent studying in total divided by 9 nights that he studied is 1 hour each night. So if all the amount of time that he's studying was redistributed, so he studied the same amount each night, Luca would be studying for 1 hour each night.